Hi, we are Kelli, Chelsea, and Jennifer, and this crap sucks. No one likes poop. It's gross, it smells, it can sometimes have disgusting things living in it. Specifically, I'm talking about Giardia liamblia. Giardia is a single-celled, microscopic sucking parasite. It has two nuclei, which are right here, and each nuclei has four associated flagella that help keep it moving, which are these things here. On its underside, it has a sucking plate to keep it in place inside of your body, which is just really creepy. It passes from the body through feces and into the environment. It's usually found in contaminated water like rivers, lakes, and ponds where animals frequently defecate. It can also survive on surfaces that have come in contact with human or animal feces. The cyst can live pretty easily outside of the body for weeks and even months in the right conditions. It survives the best in water below 50 degrees Fahrenheit and in cold soil for up to 7 weeks. Floridians can still get infected, but it's less likely. In warmer waters, it can survive for as little as 4 days. Giardiasis, the sickness that you can get from the parasite, is also called beaver fever. It got this nickname because a stream in Banff National Park in Canada was being used as a freshwater source for hikers. After many fell ill, an expedition found a beaver dam upstream. The beaver feces was tested, and they found high levels of Giardia. Giardia can infect both humans and animals. Hikers and travelers, those working in childcare, and those working with wildlife have the highest risk of infection. Because of the different variations of Giardia, humans aren't typically infected by dogs and cats, but it's still possible.
You can't get Giardia through blood transmission. Since Giardia is an intestinal parasite, you can only be infected by ingesting it. This is why children are very likely to be infected. Kids touch everything and then put their hands in their mouths. Drinking contaminated water or not washing your hands after potentially coming into contact with an infected object, animal, or individual can begin the process. Because of the different genotypes that occur in Giardia, humans are rarely infected through transmission from dogs and cats, so don't start getting rid of them. The life cycle for this parasite is relatively simple. It starts with ingesting the cyst. As it travels through your stomach and into your intestines, the cyst breaks down and produces two trophozoites, which is the feeding stage of Giardia. Those trophozoites can multiply by asexual reproduction through longitudinal binary fission, basically meaning they split down the middle to reproduce. They can either remain in the small intestine by attaching to the lumen with their sucking disc, or they can freely float. They can eventually encyst again. The cyst and even free-floating trophozoites can then be pushed through the rest of the digestive system and out of the body. The trophozoites can't survive outside of the body, but the cyst can remain in the environment. This is a picture of the life cycle of Giardia. The first stage is ingestion of the dormant cyst. Then excistation occurs, which the trophozoites emerges to an active state of feeding and motility. Then they split apart by asexual reproduction. Only about a third of infected people exhibit symptoms, which means you can have Giardia, but you won't have symptoms of it. Both the cyst and trophozoites can be found in feces, but only the cysts are capable of surviving outside of the host. The Giardia cysts can survive for weeks to months in cold water.
Typical symptoms of giardiasis can include some fun stuff like diarrhea, gas, cramps, nausea, dehydration, and fatigue. Sounds like a fun time, right? Extended exposure to the parasite can cause permanent damage to the inner lining of the intestines, and some people may never show symptoms at all. Giardiasis is typically treated with medicines like fenbendazole, a dewormer for animals, and metronidazole, an antibiotic for humans and animals. If left untreated, giardiasis may clear up on its own within a few weeks, as long as reinfection doesn't occur.
but this is not always the case, so it's best to go seek treatment from a doctor. The best way to avoid it is to maintain good hygiene, so go wash your hands, people. Avoid touching your mouth, especially when you haven't washed your hands, and don't drink contaminated water without properly filtering it and treating it. Don't eat undercooked food, and don't eat the poop.